Due to Mr. Parkin's earlier work schedule for this week and next week, the other half of the British Fist, me and Jay, will be doing the TNA review. But to kick off tonight's show, we have Buddy Ray and the Ace and Eights. Buddy Ray goes on talking about how Chris Sabin is planning on cashing in his X Division Championship for Buddy Ray's World Heavyweight, and how he should not do it because if you don't know by now, Buddy Ray is a bad, bad man and he's done many bad things. Then he moves on to other business that's going to be sorted out tonight, and that is a new VP for the Ace and Eights, who, just so you know, people, will not be Matt Morgan, because in the news, Matt Morgan has left TNA. And this is a real sad thing because in the time of him leaving TNA, he was getting involved with Hulk Hogan. He was talking about the World Heavyweight Championship. And I personally, and I'm sure Mr. Parkin does, he should have been one of the contenders, one of the opponents for Buddy Ray. A face Matt Morgan who's been in the wrestling business, WWE, TNA for a while, but TNA never pushed him to the right direction. And I think TNA and WWE in the past missed out a huge opportunity. Yes, there may be fans out there who don't like Matt Morgan or agree with it, but Matt Morgan, I believe, should have been a contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. So maybe it's going to be TNA's loss and WWE's gain, but we'll see in the next couple of weeks, months, to see how it goes down. And then out comes Kurt Angle after Buddy Ray turns down the main event Mafia challenge for next week. And Kurt Angle says he's going to kill two birds with one stone as he makes Buddy Ray, or makes sure Buddy Ray loses his World Heavyweight Championship and loses it alone. And Buddy Ray was having none of that. He was trying to prove Kurt Angle wrong. But this brings out Sting to make a few comments on Buddy Ray and to announce that tonight there will be another new member to the main event Mafia. And I wonder who it's going to be this week. Tonight's matches were all to do with this Joker's Wildcard tournament to determine who's going to go into the main event of this show to earn 25 points for the Bound for Glory series. And the first match we get, which is random by the way, due to a lottery machine draw, we get AJ Styles and Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy and Joseph Parks, who just happened to be opponents last week, but tag team partners this week. Yeah, that's very, very random, TNA. Good thinking. And the winners of this match are AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, as Samoa Joe locks in a submission move on Joseph Parks to advance them two into the main event. It was an okay match, but with these matches, it's just who wins to go into the main event. The next match is Anderson and Magnus, future opponents in this main event Mafia and Ace and Eight's feud, versus Jay Bradley and Hernandez. And the winner of this match, due to Anderson not tagging himself in or allowing him to be tagged in, was Magnus. But because it being a tag team, Magnus and Anderson are advancing to the main event. Now, before the next and final match in this tournament, we have Aries backstage saying how Rude weren't there to support Aries in his X Division Championship match, and now he's no longer the X Division champion. Bobby Roode says he's got problems of his own and how he's fighting to stay in the top three and to win the Bound for Glory series. And this brings in Kaz and Daniels, who talk about their upcoming match and the match that will determine who's the better tag team of the two. Oh, so they thought. Oh, so they thought. Due to the lottery machine, we get Rude and Kazarian versus Aries and Daniels. And the winners of this match going into the main event are Rude and Kazarian. The interesting thing about this, though, was after all this negativity I've been giving TNA for what they're doing with Kazarian. Yes, Kazarian's tag teaming with Daniels, but it's always been Kazarian putting over Daniels. But tonight, TNA gave Kazarian the win over Daniels. So Kazarian picks up the win, putting Rude and Kazarian into the main event. And there we have it. Our main event is set up. It's going to be AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Mr. Anderson versus Magnus versus Kazarian versus Austin Aries. And it sounds like it's going to be a good match, but I'll get to it once I've spoken about the rest of the show. Backstage, we have Hulk Hogan talking to Brooke Hogan about a telephone call or some communication that Brooks had with Bully Ray. But Brooke doesn't want to talk about it. She's put a full mind of concentration on the big ladder match they have tonight. But Hogan keeps trying to persuade and force Brooke to tell him, but she's having none of it. She'll do all that once tonight is over. Then we get to the VP announcement, and after they go round the ring of Ace and Eight's members, picking who they want to be the VP, either Doc or Anderson, it all comes down to Knox making the final choice. And Knox picks Anderson. So Anderson's the VP of the Ace and Eights. Who the hell cares? And then we get to the epic, great, awesome, very entertaining Knockouts ladder match, which was between Gail Kim and Terrell. I enjoyed this match. They had many great spots. The drop when Terrell drop kicked a ladder against Gail Kim's chest. We had the bigger four on the ladder. We had the Terrell choking Gail from the top of the ladder, and then we had the great finish where Gail Kim locked up Terrell's hair to the ropes, and she climbs to retrieve the number one contendership contract. So it looks like either I think it's at Destination X or somewhere down the line. It's going to be Gail Kim versus Mickie James, who was also at ringside for this match. So yes, we're getting Mickie James versus Gail Kim again, but the difference about this, and I think TNA could really make this a good match, is that Mickie James is playing the heel and Gail Kim is playing the heel. Heel versus heel, it looks like, but it's going to be a great match. And talk about great matches, this ladder match, what TNA are doing with the knockouts, what they've had between Terrell and Gail Kim before, the concentration, the maneuvers, the spots, it's very entertaining. Even though Terrell lost, it put her over, and I'm looking forward to what other great matches the knockouts can put on. Main event time, and after AJ eliminates Kaz, Anderson eliminates AJ, Joe and Anderson eliminate each other, we're left with Magnus and Bobby Roode 2. And surprise, surprise, luckily for the continuation of the push, Magnus pins, because once they've done over the top eliminations, it becomes a singles match. We have Magnus defeating Roode for the second time. Way to go. I'm really loving how TNA are booking Magnus. It's definitely putting Magnus in a good place. And once again at top of the Bound for Glory Series leaderboard. But this win made Taz very mad. Just like I said earlier, who the hell cares? But now on to the main event segment, which involved Hulk Hogan calling out the unbelievable Chris Sabin. And before Chris Sabin does what he said he was gonna do, which is hand the X Division Championship over to Hulk Hogan, out comes Buddy Ray. And Buddy Ray warns Chris Sabin, do not do this. You're going to be making a huge mistake. I've defeated and done bad things to many people in the past. Don't you dare give that championship to Hogan. But Chris Sabin does it because TNA are putting someone different into the title picture and giving someone else the option C or a chance to be in the main event. So you could complain that Chris Sabin's not a typical big guy, but neither was Austin Aries. And we all know Chris Sabin can put on good matches, entertaining matches, and yes, Buddy Ray might batter him, beat him down, not be at each other's level. But I think it's going to be a good match once it happens. But Buddy Ray says you've made a big mistake because when it comes to our match, you are not just against me, which, to be honest, Buddy Ray, you should be going 1-on-1 against Chris Sabin. There'll be the Ace and Eights there. And as the Ace and Eights come down to the ring, ready for probably another beatdown, out comes the main event Mafia. And they say how you will be alone at Destination X, which is next week, by the way, people. So please tune into that show and this review next week. And the main event Mafia, Sting, Angle, Magnus, and Samoa Joe announced their new member, which just happens to be Rampage Jackson, the guy who we've not seen since that last face-off against Kurt Angle, teasing a possible feud, but the feud's not happening now. He's joined the main event Mafia. And all I'm going to say about this is well done, TNA, because you're really putting down the Ace and Eights as far as you can into the mud, the soil, the dirt, the graves, everything you can think of down there. Because there's no way the Ace and Eights, the jobber faction, the faction that is only really built up of Buddy Ray and Anderson, are they going to have any chance to defeat these members of Main Event Mafia? But I look forward to seeing what happens at Destination X and how they're going to perform between Buddy Ray and Chris Sabin, what the Ace and Eights and Main Event Mafia do, and what other surprises we get. But anyway, people, please share your thoughts on tonight's show in the comments section below. There's links to contacting me, Mr. Parkin, or the British Fist themselves in the description box below. And that's been another review from me, NJ. And now what I'm going to say, people, is please do me one massive favour. Please keep smiling, and goodbye.